Now, a bombshell new book claims that Prince Harry was left in the dark about the late Queen's health during her final hours.
Omid Scobie's Endgame also claims that despite the King citing protocol for not allowing Meghan to join the royal family in Scotland following the Queen's death, a former palace aide says they just didn't want her there. Well, we're joined now by royals and showbiz reporter Kinsey Schofield, live from Los Angeles. Good morning, Kinsey, or good afternoon to you, evening. What else do we know about Scobie's book?
Well, I mean, I think that if you enjoyed Spare, Omid Scobie's Endgame is going to go right next to it on your coffee table, and you are going to devour every single second of it because it sounds like he's got some really good sources, Nicola, if you know what I'm saying. There's a particular instance where we hear about how Harry avoids calls that are from unknown numbers, which, you know, who can relate to that? And it's Meghan that says, I think you should take the call. I mean, who is the fly on the wall that is telling Omid Scobie these kind of details about Meghan instructing Harry to take a call while he's, you know, while they're alone in Frogmore Cottage? So I do think you're going to get insider information if you trust and, you know, really believe in their truth, or I think that Omid's going to be the go-to person for it. And can I just say, you two are highly caffeinated this morning. I am very much enjoying the show.
Yeah, totally caffeinated this morning at all. So here's what I don't get, OK? I think most people would know what I make of them. I've said it repeatedly. I think if you... Actually, sort of, as I've said before, I respect the fact they don't want to be in the goldfish bowl, but I don't respect the fact that you then make money out of this. Why don't they just come clean and say, we are behind this book?
Well, you know, it does sound, according to reports, Prince Harry spoke to King Charles and Meghan Markle spoke to King Charles over the last 48 hours. So it does seem like they are attempting a reconciliation, and technically their hands are clean if they, you know, say that they didn't have anything to do with it, and perhaps there was a go-between, which is what we found out happened with Finding Freedom. But I do think that ultimately Omid is still useful to them, and that's why they're still giving him allegedly, perhaps, information.
Allegedly, perhaps.
I find it fascinating, but it's not, you know, it's not unprecedented for certain royals to have biographers that are associated with them and are very friendly with them. And Omid is clearly their biographer of choice. I think I'd be fascinated to interview him.
I'm sure, and Kinsey's right, I'm sure people will devour it. What I don't get is it's another part of... We've used the word psychodrama this morning for the Tory government. It's the psychodrama. We woke up the other day, headline in The Sun, they're talking. It was a great headline. And we think he's phoned his father on his 75th. Is it 2 days later? Apparently this. Here's one thing I want to raise with you. You talked about revelations. You know how much of a monarchist I am, a royalist. Apparently, he wasn't kept updated. I can categorically tell you that I know, and I know this from the old man. Talked repeatedly about this. The Queen wasn't impressed with the way things went. Maybe she didn't know what was going on. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe that person is right or not. But it could be a direct consequence, that treatment, for the way that they've behaved. And that will also, I guess, come out in the book, right?
No, I agree with you. To complain about not being made, you know, to complain about them not holding the information for Harry until he landed. It's, again, I feel like Harry doesn't acknowledge that his family is bigger than a family. They're an institution. They're a corporation. And actually what they were trying to do was they were trying to avoid somebody like Lady Colin Campbell releasing that information on YouTube before they got to officially do that, which is exactly what happened. It wasn't anything against Prince Harry. They wanted to control the narrative. But it's interesting you talk about privacy. And here in the States, Page 6 is reporting that palace courtiers are very upset that the Telegraph received information about Prince Harry and King Charles's private phone call. They say that Harry and Meghan, you know, invade their own privacy when it's convenient to them. And I think that might be something that, you know, we should consider. It does seem like a good point.
Kinsey, moving on now to the latest installation of The Crown. What can we expect from these 4 episodes that are dropping later today?
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to say they're beautiful and they're heavy. They're beautiful and they're heavy. I mean, if you You watch it and you are so devastated for Prince William and Prince Harry, because obviously we're going to go we're going to go through the death of Princess Diana, but you do see Elizabeth Debicki love these children. And as Diana, I feel like these 4 episodes are so heavily focused on the love she feels for her boys. And so while you're sympathizing with William and Harry in real life, because I can't imagine having to go through such a traumatic experience again, you know, for other people's entertainment, it's wild. It's wild to imagine.
Kins, we were saying just then very quickly, sorry, and loads more to talk about in the next couple of hours. It does drop at 8. That for a lot of us of this sort of age, you know, 40 to 60, 35 to 55, the beginning of The Crown was fascinating. What happened with the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh got together when she acceded to the throne? We saw all this stuff take place in the news and in our lives, and then the difference now, we're more critical because fact and fiction, we know as much as we know. I think, I don't know, it's going to be extraordinary, and it'll upset some people, it'll fascinate other people, right?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, the boys have told us about their last phone call with their mother. And in The Crown, there's the last phone call that takes place, they make sure she's not going to marry Dodi. That's not true. You know, like, so we know that. So it's little instances like that where you're a little annoyed.
Well, Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much, as always, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kins.